Autumn is here, and I'm inside, enjoying a cup of tea and a hot stove. But I do have something on my mind, something a bit twisted. Twisted, out of Yorkshire, England, transforms ordinary Land Rover Defenders into amazing and beautiful supercars. The sky is the limit for Twisted and what they can do with a Defender. From exterior to interior, engines, transmission, suspension, you name it. But they still keep the Defender true to its heritage. I have been fascinated by this company for quite a while, and dreaming of having a Defender like that. And I do have a favorite. And I really love this pickup truck here. This pickup truck really speaks to me. Quite a workhorse. And those wheels, that grey color, and the entire craftsmanship behind it. It's stunning. Yet, the price, well, that doesn't speak to me. At £195,000, it's a quite expensive car. And I don't have that type of money. So, this evening, I make a bold decision. I will try to build a Defender just like that. Then take it up to the mountains and go fishing before winter arrives. Well, I have to admit that I'm a bit of a Twisted fanboy. It's just something I just love about those Yorkshire-built Defenders. And I think I know why. Because a small seed was sown quite early in my life. And for that I have to blame my parents. Heartbeat was a TV series set in the 1960s, following the life in the rural village Aidensfield, which was filled with beautiful scenery from the Yorkshire moors, great actors, classic cars, great storylines and music, and even romance. And a ridiculously high crime rate for such a small village. And of course, clawed green grass.
10 bob then. That's fair and square, isn't it?
Compensation. Do you think that's all there is to it?
I want no to do with court cases, Mr. Baton.
I know. Book him.
My parents were fans of the TV series, so every single summer holiday, from I was 12 to 16 years old, we kept returning to the Aidensfield Arms, or Ghostland Hotel as it's called in real life. And we got quite familiar with the places and people. But it was one more thing that I saw a lot of. Land Rovers.
Maggie? Who are those two girls in your Land Rover?
So today I drive this nice Land Rover. But can I manage to transform it into a Twisted replica? Well, let's try. I begin the project by ordering some new parts. And it's time for a service on the car as well. My little puppy, Tamarack, he gives me a helping paw, opening the boxes. So I drive the Defender into my workshop, and then the work can begin. My plan is to start underneath the car, by freshening up the frame, the axles and the suspension. And luckily, the frame on the car is in very good condition, which is rare for an 18-year-old Defender. I begin with taking off all the surface rust, and then I will treat it with a special type of paint. Then I install a set of new shock absorbers, freshening up the brakes, before I can put on what really will make this car look cool, the wheels. I purchased a set of brand new genuine Twisted 18-inch classic wheels with 35-inch all-terrain tires. This is my biggest investment on this build, and it set me back a lot, but it is crucial to get the look I'm after. And already the Defender looks a lot tougher. But for me, this is just a small beginning, because I am not done transforming this car. I decide to take a little break. And there is this mountain river that I'm curious about. So I take the Defender up to the mountains, and perhaps I can fish some trout. But on my path, I stumble upon something strange. Something that would put even my Land Rover to shame. At least in the snow. It is a snow track. A tracked vehicle that had its beginning in the late 50s. Built in Sweden by a company called Active. It is a rare machine. A little over 2,000 of these were made. But for me, it also brings back some memories. Because a couple of years ago, I restored a beaten up snow track. What started out as a hopeless case of a sandblasted aluminum shell and a big pile of disassembled parts turned eventually into something that resembled its former glory. And I spent some hours bringing it back to life. It's a cool machine. They can go anywhere. I wonder why it's stranded here. But it's a basic machine, easy to fix. It's a Beetle engine in them. The snow tracks use several VW parts, like the engine and the transmission, but also other parts like shock absorbers, taillights, and interior stuff, like the steering wheel and the gear selector. This snow track is a later model from the 70s by the looks of it. It actually looks pretty complete. It's some broken glass, but that can be fixed. What's cool about these snow machines were the steering mechanism, because it has a normal steering wheel, like in a road car, to turn the tracks by using a clever steering system called a variator. It's a shame it's just been left behind, but it's also very cool to find stuff like this out in the wild. I leave the snow track behind and head towards the waterfall, and I can hear the sound of a waterfall getting stronger and stronger. It is a strong and rapid river, so I need to tread carefully to not fall in here, because then I would quickly get down from the mountain. But I am tempted to see if there's any trout swimming in it. So I find a calmer spot of the stream and try my fishing luck. And finally, I catch one. It is not a big one, but he surely is strong. I guess you have to be this strong to be able to swim out in that strong current. It's a cleansing feeling being out here, next to the river, like it washes away any negative energy in your mind and your body. There is something special about being out here alone. It makes you more connected to nature. I enjoy being in the wild alone. It's out here all my creative ideas gets born. I bet my little puppy Tamarack would have enjoyed being here with me, but he is still a little small to walk this far yet. I know my old dog Lakota would have absolutely loved it here. Well, time for some hot coffee. I decide to fish a little longer and just enjoy my time here. Relax and just take it all in, the beautiful scenery. After a wonderful trip to the mountains, I am back home again, working out a plan on how I can transform my Defender into a pickup truck. But I don't want it to look like it was built by Claude Greengrass, but perhaps with a Greengrass type budget. But to do that, I need to be extremely creative. So the hunt for parts can begin. To convert my car into a double cab pickup truck, I would need 3 essential parts: a double cab roof panel, a rear window panel, and a tailgate. So not really all that much. After a search online, I do find some interesting listings, and a seller on eBay UK has an old rear window panel and also a tailgate laying around. So we agree on a price of around £500 for the lot. He kindly packed it all on a pallet and sent it off to Norway. Then there is the roof panel. That turns out to be a rather difficult thing to find for a cheap price. A brand new one from Land Rover costs over £8,000, so that's totally out of the question. But I do find a wrecked double cab sitting in a salvage yard in Sweden, but the roof is not usable. What a shame. Before I start to modify a car, I first like to make a little model of it. I just had a great idea, I think, because on all Defenders, the front part of the roof, over the driver's side, that piece is the same on all Defenders. So take a second look on the Swedish Defender and the rear half of that double cab roof. It doesn't seem all that badly damaged. And if I buy that Swedish roof, I can try to mate it to my original station wagon roof, I think. So I guess there is only one thing to do: to give Sweden a call and talk some Swedish.
Hej på dig, ja, det är Magnus Marthinsen som ringer där. Ja, hejsan. Jag ringer angående en dubbelcab du har vraka hem. Hur mycket, hur mår ni gamla svenska? Ja, hej. Hur mycket ska ni ha för det krascha taket på den dubbelcaben? Ja, 2000 kronor, ja men det är god, jag köper det. tack då. Hej bye.
Luckily my English is better than my Swedish, but I got a roof, so, well, half a roof at least. Then after some days, the dented roof arrives at my doorstep, but it do need some love and care. So I need to take out my favorite tools, a hammer and a block of wood. After some massaging with the hammer, it is time to test fit the roof to the rear window panel, and it seems to go together pretty well, even though these are from different cars. Then after a quick wash, the prepping of the window panel can begin. And I give it a coat of primer-based black paint. Then it's the matter of stripping down the interior and really start the conversion from a wagon to a pickup truck. It's not many hidden bolts or nuts here, so it's pretty straightforward. And it all comes off pretty easy.
The Bodywork.
The plan is to cut down there, keep that part, the front part of the roof, and remove the back. Cutting into a perfectly good roof is a little crazy to do, but sometimes you can't think too much and just do. It's only 2 small cuts on each side of the roof. It shouldn't be that hard. Then I have to drill out the spot welds, holding the roof parts together. And the roof comes off rather easy. But I do plan to keep all of these parts that I'm taking off and paint them later on, so I can have the option to change between a pickup truck and a station wagon. What I love about the Defenders is that everything is so easy to disassemble. It's like a big Meccano set.
The truck cab.
And then the big moment to fit the truck cab. Will it even fit? It looked okay on the ground, but it's now that I will get my answer. But with some tweaking and brute force, it slides into place. Some of you might think it's easier to sell this station wagon and just buy a pickup truck. But the Defender pickup trucks are quite rare, and not many of them here in Norway. And for me the fun is to build one, so that's kind of the point of all of this.
The rear bulkhead.
What I have not mentioned yet is that I need a rear bulkhead, which is the wall separating the bed from the cab. In other words, the front of the pickup bed. This is something that I need to design myself. But I do have some nice sheets of metal from an old storage shelf laying around, and they might do the job. riveted in Land Rover fashion, and then sprayed with some primer-based paint. I am happy with the result.
The tailgate.
The installation of the tailgate is a rather simple job. Just screw on some brackets and the hinges and slide the tailgate in. Well, maybe some fine adjustments is needed.
The paint job.
I begin with taking off all trim and lights, before I can start sanding and preparing the body for paint. But my little puppy, Tamarack, he is a little rascal and decides to get my attention and takes one of my orange indicators.
Tamarack. Yeah.
Ricky. Lip. 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 Nej. Ta den istället. Ta den. Tack.
Well, I have spent many hours working, so it's time for some puppy playing and relaxing with the bonfire this evening, and call it a day. It's a new day tomorrow. Sanding is certainly not my favorite job, but it is well worth doing. Otherwise, the paint won't stick, and before you know it, you have done the whole car. Then mask it up, clean off any dust, close the doors, and we are ready to paint. I'm all geared up and ready to spray on my favorite Defender color, Chorus Grey. It will not be a $1 million type of paint job, but it will do for me. And then a couple of layers with clear coat. Painting outdoors like this, it's not a recipe for a perfect paint job. But I have to say that I'm really pleased with the result. And it really is the best paint job I've given a car ever. The paint is water-based and it dries very quick. And it looks amazing. and the car looks much more modern right away.
The final touches.
Then it's time for a facelift. I am changing out the old grille and headlight surrounds for a more modern look. But to replicate the iconic twisted style front end, I need to be a little creative. I get rid of these big plastic headlight surrounds and instead use headlight surrounds from an old Series 3 Land Rover from the 1970s. For the time being, I installed the orange indicators, and one of them has a bite mark. But I do plan to get some clear ones with orange bulbs later on. And then to top it off, I put on a mesh front grille that I found on eBay. Then it's time to go to bed. I prepare the truck bed with a special paint that is very hardy and durable, and should withstand me throwing things in there.
The interior.
From Twisted, I get sent a package of sound deadening material. This will greatly help reducing the noise inside the car and make it a more pleasurable ride. You are supposed to use a fancy roller tool to get them properly glued on, which I don't have, but I do have a paint roller and it kinda does the same job. But I do want a tad of luxury. So from Exmoor Trim, I get this center console made in brown leather with real Harris tweed. And it even smells good. Some stylish seat covers from Twisted gets easily installed and my interior looks a lot more stylish. And it's still very practical. My dream was to build a Defender pickup truck, like this. Here is how my car looked like when I bought it. So now, let's see the result of my work. Time for a test drive. It feels like a total different car, despite the fact it is actually my old station wagon. Well, the car is mostly done by now, but there is one more thing that's left to do. And that is to piss off Charles Fawcett, the founder of Twisted. I had noticed on social media that Charles seemed a bit upset with copycats faking their Twisted badge, and I do understand that, so I decided to do something about it. So I got these stickers made. Woodsman, 1 of 1. Oh well, it's important to say that these stickers are just made for entertainment purposes, and this car will never be branded as a real Twisted, if it ever comes for sale. But it does indeed carry some genuine Twisted parts. I think it's worthy of a sticker at least, so I don't hope I have to go to jail. It's late autumn by now, and winter is just around the corner. But before the lakes freezes up, I want to take the Defender up to the lakes and try the fishing rod one last time. The higher I get up in altitude, the rain shifts into snow. And the season suddenly shifts into winter. It's a beautiful scenery when seasons collide like this, like every single color of the woods in one fantastic painting. But it is a beautiful drive in the Defender. It's kind of hard to believe that it is my old station wagon. And I am very happy with the result.
Hello? Ricky.
Well, Tamarack is pleased about the snow. And I'm gonna try the fishing rod, see if there's any trout out there. It's late in the season now, so I highly doubt that I get anything, but I have to try. And probably.
How's it going? Hello?
And this will probably be the last fishing trips this year. I'm getting a little cold by staying here fishing. It's not the perfect fishing weather, and the fish doesn't seem hungry. But still, it's a beautiful scenery, and someone is having fun.
Nå gjør det, altså.
Well, I decided to give up the fishing. And instead, let's get a fire going and have a woodsman's lunch. Further down into the beech forest, we find a little spot and preparing the fire, only accompanied by a couple of ravens, who doesn't seem to think that I can manage to get a fire going in these wet conditions. So I better prove them wrong.
Hei, hører de ler av oss? Ikke bit engang.
My trusty birch bark catches fire quickly, so that should shut the ravens up. I never get tired of the sound and smell of burning birch bark. It is fantastic. Notice how quick I am by putting on bigger wood on the fire. Doing this capsules in the heat and will help produce a pile of hot ember, which is the key to a great bonfire. And today I have brought with me something I don't usually bring out in the woods. A coffee plunger and some Irish coffee. Well, it's coffee with Irish aroma, so should be nice on this chilly day in the woods.
That's a good cup of coffee.
The days are getting shorter now, and soon it will be Christmas. And it's time to reflect on the months that has passed.
I started this year with building the Jeep, and it was a cool car and it was a great experience. It was a nice spring, early summer memories. This summer was a bit sad. My
my beloved dog Lakota passed away, and that was a very tough time. But I got through it with the help from both dog and horsepower. And of course, the fishing trips gave great memories, which was also the goal for this year, to combine fishing and working on cars. Even though I didn't catch any big fish, it is still a fantastic feeling to be out fishing.
Get that beautiful fish.
But the highlight for me this year must be building this Defender pickup truck, which has quickly become one of my all-time favorite cars. To build something like this yourself gives a very special feeling. And for me, to build it myself is more rewarding than buying a finished car. Well, it might be a little rough around the edges and not even close to the perfection of a real Twisted Defender, but it is a nice reflection of myself, I guess. So it will do me fine. The feeling of being out enjoying nature and getting there in a vehicle that you have worked on yourself. Well, that is perfection for me and what I seek. It brings me happiness and a good feeling. When you think about it, life is really the quality of your feelings. But if you don't want to go through all the blood, sweat and tears and get your hands and fingers all gnarled up, then Twisted Automotive should be the place to go. Hey, it's Magnus here. If you like what I do and want to see more of it, feel free to support my upcoming projects on my website.